is not the same way we came in at. I'm very painfully aware of that. But I'm trying my darndest to avoid those wolves. Alright. So this is where we started at. Our fiasco. There's the dead wolf. Now I did go the right way originally. Down through here and around. This is the correct way to go. What I failed to do was turn the correct direction after going the correct way. I went left and up and over the top. Left is obviously the wrong way. I've got to go right. Because that's the way to my cave. And I made a poor life decision by going left. And we paid the price. Nearly getting our face munched on. Munch crunch. It's a little bit of both. I've spent much less time here than any other region in the game, including Milton, which I've probably spent the least amount of time in besides all the others. Well, Broken Railroad too, but Broken Railroad is quite linear and easy to remember. But yeah, it is pretty easy to get lost in, especially when I've only taken this route a couple of times before. So I do explicitly remember this bit though from when we were back here, when was the last time? Hold on. Let me go see when on YouTube we were actually in Hushed River Valley, according to the gameplay sesh. Let's see. 5 months, 4 months, 4 months, 4 months, 5 months, 4 months, 4 months, 4 months. So yeah, the soonest was 4 months ago already. So yeah, back in like June, July. Well, probably more like July, August. Would have been the last one that came out. So we went left last time, which is the wrong way to go. We need to go right. Yeah, July. And we still have ever more wolves to go through to still get to our place. Alright, this looks 10,000 times more familiar. Cause looky here, there should be a campfire in this tree. And guess what? There done be a campfire. There was a bear we hunted down on the ice here and killed. Mr. Berry Bear. Do you remember killing Mr. Berry Bear? I remember killing Mr. Berry Bear. And then a blizzard came up while I was trying to kill Mr. Berry Bear. And we just hugged the cliff face to find shelter because I figured, what the heck? There's probably some shelter somewhere along the cliff face. And I was right. We found some shelter. No, not that time. That was when we were going through the ice caves, when I first entered the region. I did not scream that time though, not with the bear. I did whimper, I think, and get a little concerned because I didn't think the tree was high enough and the bear was rather close, and I didn't want to shoot him at the time we ended up shooting him, but I kept forgetting if you hold the bow back too long, it fires eventually. Then we went and we quartered Mr. Berry Bear so we could haul him back to the cave. And then we were like, well, it's safe on this ledge, we'll just start cooking him here. And then a wind came up and blew the fire out, so we had to go back to the cave, and then we had like a 4-day blizzard, and yeah, good times. But I left so much crap back here, I figured, what the hey, it's worth getting. We should have scads of bear meat still, I think. We left some cans back here. A knife, some torches, some cooked venison, some bear meat cooked, some reishi tea. That's all I'm seeing. And firewood, it's dark though, so I could easily be missing some stuff in the dark. I could have sworn we had some meat still left uncooked, but I guess not. So we did clear this place out for the most part. We only left a little bit behind. Well, let's eat some venison then. Still pretty high condition. We'll have to cook some more water tomorrow because we're going to be getting pretty dry here soon. Well, maybe not. We might actually not need to. I'm going to start with a 4-hour increment. It pretty much is one of the most difficult places to pull that off properly, yes. Sounds like we got some very nasty wind. Yep. And we slept the wind away. Most of it. Still windy. Alright, so we'll leave the bear meat behind. We'll take the tea, the torches, the knife, the coal. We'll leave the cans behind in case we ever come back here and hunt another bear in this area or something. I honestly thought we had left far more behind in here than that. I guess we took the bear hide back to Grey Mom's? Or did we leave it in an ice cave somewhere? I'm not trolling back through the ice caves on this visit. We can at a later time, but... Yeah, definitely speak of the devil. You knocked on that wood a little bit too hard and... Well, here's the wind. Hold up, we're hungry. Let's go back and snag that last piece of venison. Next time we come back here, we should have level 5 cooking. Because I'm gonna go hunt a bear in Milton. I think. Maybe, I don't know. Still need the Wrapped in Furs achievement, but I think we'll get that on our next Loper run. Or our current Loper run, anyway. But yeah, my opinion is this region's pretty easy to survive in. Once you get the hang of basic survival skills, obviously, like, I wouldn't just recommend, oh yeah, this is a good region, go play this region, you'll enjoy it. Like, no. You need some serious armaments in the knowledge portions of the gameplay before you attempt HRV in earnest. Alright, I wonder what's causing it to have so many problems. We're gonna turn VSync off and see if that changes anything. Not really. I wonder why I've been getting so much frame lag in The Long Dark recently. It's not a demanding title by any means, especially for my comp. I've not had any issues with any of my other games. It might be just the fact that I'm streaming, but if I go open Task Manager and check out Performance, yeah, we're hardly even using 15%. Memory is only at 9.6 gigabytes out of 16. Disk is at 0 usage. Ethernet's the only thing being used at a send rate of a lot. 3.1 megabytes a second. Yeah, but I never had these problems last time I was here and streaming, so I don't know what's causing it. And it's not like my computer isn't spec'd enough to handle it. It could just be optimization issues on Hinterland's end, maybe. Dunno. I know I'm probably gonna get a minor upgrade when Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. Ooh, excuse me. I'm probably going to see, because it depends on when that game comes out. Like after E3, you know, E3 came, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of stuff being mentioned here that could be fun, could be good, could be enjoyable. And I got incredibly hyped immediately, obviously, for the Elder Scrolls 6, because I enjoyed the heck out of Skyrim. But, you know, I never was a fan of the Fallout series. I never much played of them. And so when Fallout 4 came out, and I saw a lot of gameplay of it, to me, Fallout 4 was rather distasteful. Like, to me, the engine was showing signs of its age, because it's, like, technically a decade old engine. Well, let's see, Creation Engine's been around, so it's technically like what, a 12-year-old engine when Skyrim came out. And you know, we figured, well, it's probably gonna be the last Bethesda title on the Creation Engine, but then they're like, no, we're gonna do Fallout 4 as well, and it's also gonna be on the Creation Engine. I was like, okay, and by that point it's like, yeah, it's definitely showing its age. And then Fallout 76 came out, and even if you're not interested in the Fallout series, it was a just bomb. I remember everyone was hyped for that after E3. And then they made the announcement as well that both Starfield, which was I was kind of excited for, and the Elder Scrolls 6 will both still be on the way outdated Creation Engine. And after seeing the huge, horrific mess that the Fallout 76 was, I was like, and we're gonna be Hi, puppy. We're gonna be dumping the Elder Scrolls 6 on this engine too? Ooh, I don't know about that. This is Stalker. We are playing Stalker. Hence why I'm hiding from the wolf at the moment. I'm waiting for him to shove off to parts unknown so I can get down safely. Or is the well, hold on, what am I talking about? The get down safely part's this way. Oh, I am very smart. But yeah, this is Stalker. I do have an interloper run going. We'll probably stream it next week. And we just came over to this cave. Yeah, definitely a great mess, yes. That sums it up so well. So yeah, I've lost all the hype I had for even their minimal announcement for both Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, because they're both going to be on the Creation Engine. And even when the time Skyrim came out, it was already beginning to show its age. And It Just Works is not going to work for me. So the only thing now that I'm left hyped for, even though I don't own a Switch, is Super Smash Ultimate and Cyberpunk 2077. So I think I'm going to get an upgrade before Cyberpunk comes out, or at least after it comes out. I'll probably upgrade my computer to whatever Ryzen 3000 series processor, because those will be landing at some time at that point. If it's not out, then I'll just leave the processor alone for now. And if Navi comes out by that point, I'll get it, because RTX is definitely not worth getting. And I'm not certain I want to I'm not certain I want to go through the second-hand market for a 1080 or a 1080 Ti at that point in time. So I'm gonna wait and see if AMD's Navi ever pans out, and if so, what its performance vector is like. If I can get 1080 Ti performance out of Navi at like $300, I'll spring immediately, and then I'll just wait for the CPU till later, because my CPU is currently beefy enough for what I do, by all intents and purposes. And here's proof cattails grow back, guys. I demolished this river of cattails last time we were here, so either there's a discrepancy with the save file that allows them to come back, which would theoretically be possible, or else for some reason the game's growing them back. I know RAF has confirmed they don't grow back, or at least they're not programmed to, so. $103, holy cow. I just took the SAT last month. This month, technically, it was this month. You'll do alright. I've been out of high school for years. I'm planning on college and I don't have a fresh SAT score, so I had to get one. I kind of studied all summer. Kind of. I mainly played games all summer. Not gonna lie. And then crammed in the last week and got a halfway decent score. But yeah, the thing to keep in mind, with the SAT, if you're gonna be taking it, is, oh my goodness, come on, Gam. Stop teasing me, I want this man's beard. There we go. The thing to keep in mind about taking the SAT is don't stress over it when you're actually taking it. Like, if you just don't really know a problem, just come back to it later. It's really that easy. It's about the mental game you have going into it, not the actual taking of the test. It depends, the difficulty of it depends on how well you're prepared and how well you are at dissecting the questions. They'll oftentimes ask questions that you think you will not be able to find the answer to, at least in the mathematical section. For example, they'll show a square and they'll have a circle completely touching, you know, the inside area of the square, so there'll be three what appears to be almost triangles in the four corners, obviously, but because it's a circle, they're not triangles. I'm not sure what the proper term for that kind of shape would be. And so it's asking you to find the area of the shape of those. Well, even if you've done really good in geometry, you've never had to find something like that, most likely. So you can be like, what the heck? How am I supposed to find this? And the only option they give you is the radius of the circle. Well, you would know because the edges of the circle are all touching the edges of the square at those 4 points, that you can just use pi r squared to get the area of the circle. And you can use pi or radius times 2 to get the diameter, and the diameter will be the length, one side length of your square, and you can use that to find the area of the square. So you get your area of your square minus the area of your circle. Bada bing, bada boom, you know the area of those 4 corners. Hi, Bear! The area of those 4 corners that aren't perfect triangles, they're rounded triangles, which normally you'd never be able to figure out. So basically, the example I'm giving here is to point out the fact that they ask questions in a misleading format. You will definitely have the math skills and knowledge from just general geometry and basic math in high school to be able to solve that problem quite easily on your own. The difficulty comes in how they present that question to you, though, because it trips up a lot of people. They're like, hold up, I ain't never seen this before. How am I supposed to solve this? Excuse me! And they get, you know, worked up over it. So it's about keeping your head in the right mental space for handling it. And just pacing yourself, just general pacing yourself. just understanding that you only have a limited amount of time. You got to answer those questions in that amount of time and not getting worked up over it. If you have a question you know for certain you don't know the answer to, skip it. If it's one of the multiple choice ones instead of that you fill it in yourself, come back later and just pick an answer. I would use a strategy called letter of the day. For all those answers that you obviously don't know from the get-go, write down like on your wrist or something if you can, or on a side piece of paper that you need to come back to that problem. Write down which sections it is in. Well, you can't write down which section it's in because you can't come back to sections, but just write down what problem it is and then fill in your letter of the day. So if you pick C as your multiple choice letter of the day, just mark in the bubble as C and move on to your next problem. And if you have time at the end, you can come back and get it, because you don't lose any points for wrong answers or unfilled in answers. So you have a 25% shot of getting the right answer. And you can make some educated guesses depending on your knowledge of the math problem. The ones that are going to be a little bit more difficult are the ones where there are no multiple choice and you have to solve the answer for yourself. My biggest thing for you would be work really, really hard on quadratic equations. Those are going to be your biggest problems. Get that quadratic formula memorized and understand how to do quadratic equations, and you'll do far better than I did on the math section at the very least. But just the main things, keep your head in the right mental space, pace yourself, so don't overwork yourself on those questions. Don't get stressed out over them, and just keep a healthy pace. You know, don't spend too long on any singular question. If you have time to come back, great. If not, don't worry about it. And when all's said and done, this score isn't the end-all, be-all determiner of your future. There'll be some colleges that you can't get into right off the bat with a poor or mediocre or even average or even somewhat good SAT score. You could always potentially start at a community college or some other type of college and then transfer over. So just keep in mind, it's not as big as all the teachers sometimes try to make it out to be. So just take your time, don't stress over it, get some good sleep tonight, and you'll probably do just fine in the morning. Just pace yourself. Whichever they do the reading section, the reading and writing section first. Your essay comes last if you're taking the essay portion. If not, then you don't worry about that. But you do the reading and writing comprehension first, and then the math section. And so it just depends on your skills with the individual topics. I got a 650 in the reading and writing section when I took the SAT early this month, which is a very stellar score, 650 out of 800. But I bombed in the math section. I only got a 500, or something, 530, I think. And I've been out of school for 2.5 years, out of high school for 2.5 years. So, you know, I have plans for college. I would like to go to college, but the score I got, 1180, is nowhere near high enough to get me in to the college I want to get into. It's not a bad score. It's actually just plain old average score. So yeah, it's just take your time and keep your head in the right space, and you'll do wonderful. That's really the best tips I can give for you. Just don't stress and don't rush. And just pace yourself and you'll do great. The moment you start fretting and freaking out and spending too much or too little time on something is the moment you're just going to start messing up and losing your place and sweating in, whatever. I'd never really taken a standardized test before, and I just sat down and breezed through the thing, and I'm like, wait, the test is over? But everyone has a different personality and how they handle outside factors, so for me, it was stupid simple on handling the test, not getting it right, obviously, but just handling the test. For other people, that's going to be a huge, huge problem. So I can't speak for you, only you can. Why did I leave the rifle out bloody side of the cave? Guys, can you answer this question? Anyway, you'll do great.